This is Joe Biden. Back in 2019, Biden made a very dubious campaign promise.
If I'm elected president, you're going to see the single most important thing that changes in America is we're going to cure cancer.
Of course, we're still waiting. But then the COVID pandemic hit, and Biden made a now infamous empty promise.
I'm going to shut down the virus. I'm going to shut down the virus. I'm going to shut down the virus.
But then, in his 18th month in office, Joe Biden tested positive for the virus he promised to shut down.
Hey folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID. But I've been double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild. It's going to be okay.
But don't give the vaccine all of the credit, because Biden's doctor also prescribed Paxlovid, which is an antiviral therapy. And what's interesting about Paxlovid is that for some patients, it has a very peculiar side effect.
We know that rebound COVID cases have been a concern in some individuals who take Paxlovid. Are there any precautions you can take to try and prevent that? And how concerned are you that that could potentially hinder his return to the office?
But it turns out there's actually clinical data. If you look at major health systems that have given out Paxlovid to tens of thousands of people, rebound rates are around 5%. There are some studies that says maybe 7-8%, some that say it's 2%, but it's in the single digits. So it happens, it's not that frequent.
So Dr. Ashish Jha, the White House COVID coordinator, said that when it comes to Paxlovid, that rebound cases are not that frequent. And stick a pin in that thought, because we're going to come back to it. On July 27th, Joe Biden tested negative for COVID. And almost immediately after that test, Joe Biden gathered the White House staff into the Rose Garden for a mission accomplished moment.
Hello everyone. I've just tested negative for COVID-19 after isolating for 5 days. Fortunately, God willing, my symptoms were mild, my recovery was quick, and I'm feeling great.
3 days later.
Hey folks, Joe Biden here. Tested positive this morning. Going to be working from home for the next couple of days.
And as it turns out, Joe Biden, who took Paxlovid, was one of those very rare and not at all frequent rebound cases. Here's White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre on the matter.
And we expected with Paxlovid to be a relapse. It's not unusual, it's common.
That's complete bullshit. If they expected that Joe Biden would rebound, then why did they allow him to give a speech in the Rose Garden celebrating that he beat COVID?
It's not unusual, it's common. We shared that with all of you the last couple of days during his bout with COVID.
So in a matter of days, the White House went from saying that rebound cases after taking Paxlovid are not that frequent and occurrences percentage-wise are in the single digits to it's not unusual, it's common.
And so, this is not unusual.
Absolute fucking clown world.
I want you to know that once we beat COVID, we're going to do everything we can to end cancer as we know it.
So even though Joe Biden promised to shut down the virus and has failed miserably, now he and his administration are making similar promises with monkeypox.
So let me just first say that the president is going to do everything that he can to end this outbreak.
Oh, really?
He's going to use pull every lever to fight monkeypox.
Except for the fact that the Department of Health and Human Services dropped the ball early on. The New York Times reports that the shortage of vaccines to combat a fast-growing monkeypox outbreak was caused in part because HHS failed early on to ask that bulk stocks of the vaccine it already owned be bottled for distribution. And because of the Biden administration's incompetence, that means that the United States is short millions of doses of monkeypox vaccine. But great job, Biden. You're doing God's work. Now think about this for a minute. From the very beginning, Joe Biden relentlessly criticized the Trump administration for not doing enough to stop COVID-19, a virus that literally appeared out of nowhere and blindsided the world.
If the president had done his job,
had done his job from the beginning, all the people would still be alive. All the people, I'm not making this up, just look at the data. Look at the data.
And yet, Joe Biden and his administration failed to prepare for monkeypox, an infectious viral disease that has existed forever. And he has the balls to claim that he's doing a great job in pandemic preparedness.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead. And that's not something the last outfit did very well. That's something we've been doing fairly well.
Fairly well is a gigantic overstatement. And I know that this has been memory hold, but remember when Joe Biden campaigned on ending the pandemic by surging testing and tracing?
I put in place a plan with this pandemic responsibly. I set it out back in May, and then again in June and in July. The way we can bring this country together around testing, tracing, masking.
Says the man who can't even wear a mask properly. But then in December 2021, Omicron hit. And because of the holiday season, demand for testing kits spiked, and no one could find a test. And of course, it wasn't Joe Biden's fault.
The vice president said in recent days that you didn't see Delta coming, you didn't see Omicron coming. How did you get it wrong?
How did we get it wrong? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody in the whole world. Who saw it coming?
So Joe Biden, who spent the entirety of 2020 criticizing President Trump for not being prepared for COVID-19, a brand new virus at the time, is now saying that no one in the world was prepared for the Omicron variant because no one saw it coming. Got it. And of course, this is the same f***ing hypocrite that said this about President Trump.
The administration's failure on testing is colossal, and it's a failure of planning, leadership, and execution.
But when Biden f***s everything up, it's not a failure. I mean, it came out of nowhere. Come on, man.
If you go to the pharmacy, we hear this over and over again, empty shelves, no test kits. Is that a failure?
No, I don't think it's a failure. I think it's, you could argue that we should have known a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago.
So Joe Biden ran in 2020 on shutting down the virus by utilizing testing and tracing, but by the end of 2021, no one could find a test.
No, I don't think it's a failure.
Skip to August 8th, 2022, when Biden visited Kentucky after massive flooding. There, he may have made his most dubious claim yet.
This happened in America. American problem. And we're all Americans. Everybody has an obligation to help. We have the capacity to do this. It's not like it's beyond our control. The weather may be beyond our control for now, but it's not beyond our control.
The weather may be out of our control for now, but it's not beyond our control. Yeah. So to recap, Biden has promised to end cancer, end COVID, also end monkeypox, and now he's saying that in the future, we're gonna be able to control the weather. You know, the man that can't even control a cough.
We know from people who will look back on, excuse me, those tiny computer chips of the semiconductors, excuse me, was hollowed out, driving up costs for families and everyone, not just here, but around the world. Automobiles, and a shortage of semiconductors. And they've chosen the United States of America. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Qualcomm. And for folks at home, that magic here on Earth.
Anyway, I think that's it for now. Be sure to hit that like button, check out these videos that you may have missed, and as always, be sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And as always, I hope to see you next time, if there is a next time.